This is episode 28 of Gem Radio. I am your host and curator, Mr. B, and I got a good friend of mine, a podcaster, a rapper, a motivational speaker, a political activist. I don't know where he really is at this point. He does a lot of damn things. He's a professional shit talker for the Miami Heat. He's my spiritual advisor. He's my brother and friend. I'd like to welcome Fat Caesar to the show today. How you doing, sir?
Man, this is different, man. Usually I'm here co-hosting, and today, we're making history.
Oh yeah, I'm interviewing my podcast partner. Man, it was kind of weird. I was just thinking about it while I was like thinking of these questions and stuff like that. I was just like, damn, I'm really interviewing somebody I've been working with for the last 4 years, and the closeness to the situations that are presented in this interview, in these questionings, you know, we all went through it as friends, being supportive to one another. So it's I think it's just best that I do this interview. I don't know, man. Like, this is something that nobody's going to have any sort of no one's not going to have this information. No one's going to have this information at all. Like, I think it's when it's personal, it gets really deep, and I can't wait to see how people feel about this interview more than anything. So it's been a very long road. 2014 July, we dropped Fat Caesar. He was going by the name Lachi Osiris. So let's take it back to the first phases of your career. You was a part of a group, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah.
With Jen Garcia and True Lex. Like, tell me about that time, because it seemed like this is when you was trying to find your footing into actually recording music.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I've been actually rapping way before that, and I was recording very unprofessionally and very, like, I'm not gonna say for fun, because like my heart was in it, but for a long time I didn't take it to the next level. I didn't do the research on what to do and everything. And then I had quit for a while. And I met my wife, and we got engaged and we got married and everything. And Lex was always like, yo, you gotta get back on the mic. You gotta get back on the mic. And I'm like, nah, man, I'm gonna go to college and I'm gonna become a teacher. And like one day, because we all went to church together at the time, including Jen. And so Jen, she had retired for the longest, to focus on family. And some things happened in her life that drove her to want to do music again. And she needed a rap feature at that. So like she asked Lex, and Lex was down, and Lex called me and was like, yeah, we're going to the studio and this and that. And I honestly felt some type of way. I'm like, hold up, nigga, you really going to the studio without your boy? But I know what he was doing, because see, Lex is one of the few people that knows how to properly bait me to the point where I can't resist. He knew that if he said he was going to the studio and showed me his verse and everything they were going to do, I would feel left out. And the bait worked, man. And so we went to the studio. It was, I believe it was Union City,
right?
Where we went. It was in Union City at the time, and we recorded a song called "Fresh and Clean," which at the time, that was at the time I was all for it and everything, but like really that was more Jen's
whole lane and everything like that.
But I wanted to try that lane. I didn't want to, I didn't want to go in there and just like do regular stuff, because like at the time too, I was also like finding myself more spiritually.
Right. So pretty much you start then, let's fast forward a little bit. You start surrounding yourself with future geniuses that are amazing in music or media and film. You start surrounding yourself with Trulex, who was great with videos. Paulie Guap, who also is great with videos and production. Heavy Bags, who is like the mouthpiece and very, very great with media himself. But then you also have Frank Meadows that you've met and actually gotten a job at this radio station in Bayonne called 15 Minutes of Fame. So how did you first get there? Like, who do you credit for bringing you into that type of fold?
Okay, so um, we're gonna go to 2011 real quick. So in 2011, um, we did the song Fresh and Clean with Jen and everything, and then we decided on making a group. And originally, like me and Lex already had IMG, but it was I, the letter M, and it was G, and really it was Imperial Music Group. But then Jen was teaching us the business side, and we discovered somebody already had registered that name,
Right.
which, by the way, they never did anything with that name. But so I was like, we always say IMG though, like in everything that we do. So Jen was like, how about I am G? And we created this whole concept behind it. And we shot a video. We shot Respect My Gangster.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw on one day I was just on YouTube and I had wrote Bayonne rappers. And here's this fat nigga, real big guy, and he's rapping about food, and he's freestyling, but then he has other music videos that are like real serious, and he's rapping in the snow, and it's Heavy Bags, and I'm like, yo, that's dope. And I noticed after subscribing to Heavy Bags page at that time, there was some updates a few months later, actually, where he was basically telling artists like, "Yo, if you want some shine, like come talk to us." And I was just like, you know what, we need the exposure. Jen had us, she kind of gave us like a little project to do, like see how much you can work the grind. That's the
Right.
best way to explain it. So she was telling us like you got to get your social media, you got to make appearances in different places. So I was like, yo, bet. So we met with Uncle Rara, Heavy Bags, and Guap, and we talked about the show. And I also saw they had a studio, and I started feeling motivated to start working on some solo stuff. So I set up the studio session, and we set up the appearance on Heavy Bag Show, and we were on Heavy Bag Show. It was like it was like a few days before Halloween actually that
Right.
we got on there. And Jen came through. Yo, Jen had pumpkins, dog. She set up pumpkins on the desk. She brought pumpkin cookies. I still remember Heavy Bags was like, "Hey, yo, pumpkin cookies?" Like most people bring Hennessy or some kind of alcoholic beverage. Like, yo, we came through with pumpkins and pumpkin cookies. Like, I'm dead ass, my G. And it was banging. Shout out to Jen Garcia. I need to holla at you because I need that recipe because it's been some years since them pumpkin cookies, but they left an impression on me because I'll never forget.
Word.
But
So
that's so with 15 minutes of fame though, in the beginning, funny enough, fast forward to the engineering.
yeah.
Lex, right? Since Lex knew a little bit of engineering already, from previous things he would do, because Lex was an intern in a big studio back in the day. A lot of people don't know that.
Wow.
And including one of the studios where Africa Bambaataa would record back in the day in New York. So you know, Guap saw that Lex had some potential and they needed another person. So they brought Lex on board, and in return, they offered him free studio time. Meanwhile, I was paying for studio time at this time. I was already like seeing Guap and starting to record. I like first thing I did, Thunder and Lightning. You know,
About Thunder and Lightning, man. That's one of your worst songs of all time.
You know what?
As
Thunder
you
and
know,
Lightning
it is.
Thunder and Lightning is bittersweet to me though, because
Because now
it
you
was
make
my first song.
because now you make way better music than that.
Oh yeah, no, I make a million times better music than that. But you know what? Like at the time, like Thunder and Lightning was everything. Like Thunder and Lightning was really a superhero story. Like, yo, there's all these villains in the rap world, and finally here comes that vigilante. And you know, it was just like, yo, Thunder, like Thunder was my superpower. Like when I spit, like everybody be like, yo, I spit fire. So I was like, you know what? I don't want to be like the rest of y'all. So y'all spit fire, I spit thunder.
So like when you started recording the rap, why did you go by the Rap God of Thunder at that point?
So that's exactly right. Why right there? Because I felt like at that point that first of all, I knew I had the intention of being godly when it came to rap music. And again, everybody was saying they spit fire. I was trying to be different. So it's like I spit thunder. So it's like, you know what? I'm the rap god of thunder. And it evolved into that. But like so many transitions and everything happened first though, because like even like Frankie, right? Fast forward to that. I had heard about Frankie from my cousin for the longest. She would be like, yo, you gotta check my boy out. Him and his man's got a group called K9 Militia. And you know, I heard it was the Shook Ones freestyle. They bodied that, by the way. And you know, I kind of pushed it back and everything. So one day, when I started doing the first few songs for Rap God of Thunder, Frankie hit me up like, yo, why haven't we met up yet? Like, why haven't we worked yet? So I was like, you know what? Bet, come to Bayonne, come to the studio. We're gonna work on a song, because you know, I was already also working on the Exodus, but believe it or not, if every song that I ever worked for the Exodus would have came out, there would have been 3 volumes of the Exodus, because I re-recorded it 3 times before we got the one that.
Yeah, let's not get too far into the Exodus, man. That was like my next damn question. You gotta like don't go too far yet.
Well, nah, the only reason I brought up the Exodus though is because all this was going on at that same time. Which, you know what? You're right though. I did get a little backtrack. I have to rewind a little bit to also why IMG ended.
Oh God.
Well, it wasn't no drama, it wasn't no beef. It was just
from what I remember you told me, it was just like, you know, Jen went back to focusing on family and you know, sticking to her faith a bit. Is that what it was?
Not so much the faith part, because like we were all sticking to our faith, but the thing is, with her, I guess she wanted to go like rated G. I wanted to go PG into PG-13, because even with my faith, I'm somebody that always points out that, you know, our holy book is filled with violence and real life scenarios. So it's like, why wouldn't my music also be filled with violence and real scenario? Because you know what, there's a place and everything. But more so than that, She, she went to focus on some personal issues, and we grew apart musically, and I just started clicking more with Guap and with Heavy Bags and everybody over there, and really like starting to create like our own thing.
Right. So when you started making Rap God of Thunder, what was it like making your first mixtape?
It was great because I'll be real. A lot of the songs on Rap God of Thunder, I had those verses done for a long time, and it was just like I knew I wanted to do them. I
Yeah.
knew what beats that I wanted to rock on, and I wanted to have fun
Did
and
you did,
experiment.
did you ever have to polish up any of those verses or anything like that? Like, did you?
Yes,
Okay.
you know what? A lot of those verses had curses
Oh,
until because a lot of those verses was written in 2007, 2006, 2008.
right.
And it was
Wow.
like that was around the time like my mom would hear it, and I was recording on a Walmart mic on a bootleg version of Virtual DJ, man. And my
Wow.
mom heard some of them, and she was like, "Yo, you really have talent! Like, wow, oh my god!" But you know what? Please, like, why do you have to curse? And her being a sick woman and everything, and the highest level of respect I have for my mother, not just because she's my mother, but she was also very like, she was my spiritual advisor, put it
Yeah.
that way. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do it. Like I'm gonna try her way.
Yeah, you kind of answered the next question. Yeah, but yeah, let's get into this one. Uh, so you carry yourself as a spiritual man. You don't curse in your music like Will Smith, but you think nigga is not a curse, but it's been blacked out in every clean version of the album in the world. Uh, what make so pretty much you said your mother, you know, made you make that decision in your life because of she felt that you had so much more talent, you could do something much more greater with your voice. Is that pretty much what it was?
Yeah, I mean, it was just that to her, like, my music is coming from a pure place, so she felt like verbally it should be the same. But me, um, like with nigga and with a couple words, I have a different viewpoint because I feel that language is subjective.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. And the reason I say subjective is because, for example, there are words in England that are regular words that are curses in the United States, and vice versa.
Right.
So I feel like because I study the Bible like on another level. Like I look at like language and meaning of language, and I feel like when it talks about cursing, it's talking about how you use a word to wish malice upon another individual or things of that nature. Like if I say, yo, my nigga, I'm saying that with love. So I'm not cursing you at that time.
Right.
You feel me? So there's certain words that
So you're talking. So pretty much you're talking about the context in which it's being used.
yes.
Okay. That makes a bit of sense, but still, it's a curse word. It's
I
like
mean,
I
for the
understand
American language.
because if you're talking about British like words in the UK, like if they're using nigga as a regular word, we're gonna be having to fight some British motherfuckers, ain't we?
Oh, nah, no, most deaf, no doubt. But like, another word that's not PC to say it's the F word, but it's not the famous F word. It's the one that rhymes with maggot. You're
Yeah,
just asking for a cigarette over there.
yeah. That's funny as hell. I'm sorry, that sounds funny.
It does. The British are funny, but you know what? At the end of the day, they had English first.
They're like experts with dark comedy at this point.
They are. And
They are.
I'm not gonna. I'm gonna go into more detail later, but like, I can relate to dark comedy a lot right now.
I know. So you live some life, as well. You was born in Queens, but you were raised in Lakewood, New Jersey, where people like me at one point don't know how fucked up it is over there. And gentrification is one of the factors of what made it worse. So worse that you don't even want to go back there until recently.
Yeah, which I went to see my grandma, and I went to it's a old folks community. Like as far as like the projects, like I grew up in formerly it was the place was called Cottage Manor Apartments, but the
Yeah.
street name for it was Congress. And yo, Congress was it was wild, and just like up the block was Ridge Avenue, and that was like that was Blood neighborhood, and right in between that you had Second Street and Third Street, and you had a combination of different gangs just in like a 1 block radius. And it got crazy over there between the gangs, and even the mom, I call them mom and pops drug dealers. Like if you out there slanging them things and you're not with a set, you're a mom and pop shop, like in the street world.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. So it was a lot of that too. And the Hasidic Jewish community, I'm not putting them down in any way, but it's a fact that they have bought everything over there. They bought my projects. It's actually a dorm for one of their colleges now. And what happens is everybody that's in housing or low income gets moved closer together. And in Lakewood, that was a no-no because the people that lived on MLK did not rock with the people that lived in Congress and vice versa. And sometimes, like we ran into each other at different food places. Like it would be on site. Like it was, and I have friends that were killed. I mean, when I left Lakewood and came to Bayonne, one of my best friends was murdered that winter in cold blood at the barbershop. And then 6 months later, the daughter of a little girl that my mom used to babysit, they murdered her mother to scare her so that her boyfriend, who was a witness, don't testify. And like, yo, her boyfriend wasn't even testifying. Like, I know the guy. He didn't want nothing to do with nothing. He was on some like, I just want to leave Jersey. I ain't talking to no cops. I ain't talking to nobody. I don't want no problems. I don't want to die. And people still died. I mean, justice was served. Like, my boy's killer and even the killer of the witness, they're doing life sentences and everything. But it was
Well,
it was a wild time, and it's like if I would have not left Lakewood and go to Bayonne, shout out to my aunt who made that possible for me. And I would have been dead because they know I rolled with my boy Heffa. Like they knew, like you saw Heffa, you saw Lachi, and at the time niggas called me Triz.
yeah, yeah. Man, that's crazy, man. So let's go a little like how is it like going back to Lakewood now that you've came back after like years of not going there?
Hey man, it's a total different place. The only thing that like even Wawa where it was ain't there no more now. Like
Wow.
so, I saw they still got the Jersey Mikes,
Hmm.
which that was cool and everything, but it's it's very Jewish or very old.
Wow.
That's there are some areas that are still the hood, and it still goes down there and everything. But it's crazy, man. They also say Lakewood's the fastest growing city in New Jersey. Like that blew my mind. But you know what? that's a numbers game though, because that's really because of the Hasidic community. A lot of Brooklyn Hasidic Jews are moving into there, and a lot of Hasidic Jews from Israel are coming to study because you have one of the top Hasidic universities in the country in Lakewood right now.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. So we're gonna go back to spirituality. So you make your first album called The Exodus. Is it an album or is it a project?
It was definitely an album.
Because you did sell it.
Yes, because you had to pay for the Exodus. Exodus was not free.
All right. So which was kind of like a Christian rap album before it became cool. Like before Christian rap was cool. Like before Lecrae and No Malice. Like so it wasn't accepted in your faith. They were against it. So how did you feel about that?
Okay, so let me clarify something. So like it wasn't that my faith personally was against it, but the gospel world in general was against it. We tried to shop the album to, at the time it was a website that was very big for Christian rap. I think it was like Godzilla or something.
Rapzilla.
Rapzilla.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I was thinking about
Rapzilla,
that.
which you know what, y'all some hypocrites, and
Yeah,
y'all
they
need
are.
to y'all need to actually study the book that you preach about, because you really make Christians look bad. And you know what? A lot of these evangelical and Baptists, and you know what? I'm not putting down none of these faiths, but like a lot of y'all that are running these faiths, as far as the culture, as far as the music and everything, y'all some Pharisees. And you know what? Religious people, I might as well have cursed. In the Christian world, I just told everybody, fuck you. Right now, without saying
See,
you're a Pharisee.
say you ain't a pimp, you a Pharisees. Oh,
Exactly. So, I have to bring that out because they were judging, they were judging me hard. And
what was the judgments? Like what was the things that they were
well, the
saying?
first was discriminating against me because
'Cause you're a Dominican.
no, not because I'm Dominican, because I'm Latter-day Saint.
Oh.
And they, a lot of different Christian faiths don't like us because we're different. You can't put us with Catholics.
I'm not gonna lie, yo. On some real shit, y'all Latter-day Saints do a lot more for the community than fucking Christians do. I'm just saying.
Facts.
I'm sorry. Like I'm not.
Facts.
I'm not.
We were in giving out food before the U.S. government.
I'm like sitting here, like yo, like all the things I hear that what type of assistance they give their churchgoers and stuff like that, like giving computer classes so you can have skills for jobs and stuff like that. Christian churches ain't doing that shit, or it's not being like put out there like that. But when I'm hearing what Latter-day Saints are doing with their churchgoers and their congregation, I'm just like, what's there to hate? Oh, the fact that you don't have those resources, the fact that you don't think about being for the community, and that's why I can't fuck with religion all the way. Like there's certain aspects to it.
Because I even have issues with my own faith, but the way I look at it is, for change to come in my faith, because I believe in my faith. Like I personally believe my faith is true, but I feel like we're not there yet because humans aren't there yet.
Nah, because your faith was wild out when they were saying that Donald Trump was Jesus and shit. Like I remember that fucking shit.
Well, that wasn't a statement from the clergy in my faith. Those are just, there's all faiths and all groups of people have their nut job people, and there's just some people that happen to be Latter-day Saints that are nut jobs that decided that Trump is like some prophecy or something.
Yeah, that bullshit.
Yeah, because you know what, like my clergy, honestly, without saying Trump's name though, have denounced several times, especially on immigration. They've denounced, his policies and all the racist policies. Like one thing that's going on in my faith right now is we're really trying to fix faith relations and preach like, yo, we're all children of God, black, white, Hispanic, whatever. And we also believe in free agency. So it's like, if you feel like you want to support racists and Donald Trump and all that, that's your prerogative. But our clergy is teaching like that's not really what God wants from you. But
Right.
we believe in free will. So at the end of the day, we believe God's gonna let you do what you want to do, and you deal with the consequences later. Like karma's real. Like you do bad, bad is gonna come to you. Like that's in any religion. That's not even just in religion. That's in general. If you do somebody wrong, one day you're gonna pay for that shit. Like that's.
So yeah, let's get back to the whole Rapzilla shit. Like,
Okay, so
I'm gonna be real as fuck. When I marked this video of the when we do Gym Radio interviews with this interview, I'm most definitely saying, "Lot your fucking fat Caesar. This is fucking Rapzilla."
Oh yeah, and you know what? Like, yo, any artist that like is using Rapzilla or whatever, and you feel like you wanna come at me, by all means. Like,
none of them niggas is gonna go at you because
you're right.
they supposed to not do things like that.
And that's the funny part is like you have a lot of people on the mic being holier than thou, but like their actions are totally, totally different. And it's like, so fine, the Exodus. One thing they don't like is we believe that man eventually can evolve into not God, but a God, because we look at that word differently. So it's like, yes, nobody can be like God, the creator, but you can be lowercase God, because if humans are children of God, then you have some God in you, and you can evolve into that. And I talk about that a lot in the Exodus. I talk about spiritual evolution. I talk about transcending, but then I also I talk about the violent side of religion. I talk about good versus evil, the punishing of sins, and even some of my own faith. Some people in my faith, they ignore some of the darker parts that are a necessary darkness, though. It's like, how can you know joy if you don't know pain? How can you know justice if certain sins aren't punished? Because you know what? There's a difference between forgiveness and and just being sorry because you got caught. If a thief steals from you and you catch them and you put a gun to their face, they're gonna be like, yo, I'm so sorry, I'll never do it again, I don't know what I was thinking. But 5 minutes ago, until you put that gun on their face, they were ready to run away with your stuff and not tell you nothing and have no regard for how you felt about it, because they were gonna get away with it. So I was pointing things out like that, and then also I was expressing myself. I was talking about, where do I see myself? Like The Sign, man. Like when we did the song The Sign, me and Frankie, I talked about where I was and where I saw myself. But really, like, the Exodus was like an epic movie.
Right.
It was like a Christian version of Clash of the Titans.
Wow. It's so crazy, man. I was really, like, when I was making these questions up, I was talking about there being markets and mediums to promote gospel rap music, and I was thinking, like, would you ever consider making a return to it? But then the rap medium the gospel rap medium I was thinking about was actually the one that was the piece of shit that rejected your shit. And so that I'm very surprised about that.
I mean, if I wanted to, there's a few I don't know about outlets, but I know there's a few Christian artists that probably would rock with me. One of them he's a good friend of mine, actually, and I was a fan of him before he went gospel, but like yo, Nucci Rayo,
Yeah.
and you know, I speak to him on a regular basis. We don't see eye to eye on a lot of things, but it's like it's nothing but love. But I don't see myself doing a Christian rap album. If I do, it's gonna be, it's not gonna be like, oh, it's a Christian rap album, but more it's a rap album with a Christian theme.
It's gonna be like some Chance the Rapper type shit without the.
Yeah, it's the like the theme could be Christian, but it's not necessarily going to be a Christian album because I there's many sides to me, and I feel like at this point in my career it's not good for me to suppress anything musically, because it's like, okay, if music's a reflection of man, no man is perfect, therefore my music shouldn't be perfect either.
No.
You know, but it has to be real and has to come from a genuine place. So if I do something for God, I'm gonna do something for God, but I don't. It's not gonna be labeled as, oh, this is Christian rap. Like, I'm not gonna make money off a label of doing music for God. It's just, okay, I believe in God, so I mention God in my music. I mean, do people say the Most Def, oh, he does Muslim rap? Like, nah. But he'll have an Islamic prayer on the intro of one of his albums. So it's like, it's the same thing. Like, I rep in my beliefs, but my album is not marketed towards my belief. And I get the least love from people with my beliefs. I mean, I've had more love from New Agers when it comes to the Exodus than I did from like Christians and stuff like that. But even with the New Agers, there's just some outlandish stuff I can't rock with on that side either.
No. So fast forward, and me and you finally meet face to face. Paulie Guap reached out to me following the Gem Tapes release to form a partnership between Golden Era Music Group and the Guap administration. What ended up happening was that you ended up being the first artist on Golden Era Music Group. And what I liked about you was that you had a plan, you had a direction of what you wanted to do in your career and what you wanted to do next. And you was talking some shit about Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, and G-Funk. And I was like, yeah, I'm down. So Fat Caesar was created. I could probably say you enjoyed recording that more than you recorded the Exodus.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I definitely had more fun with Fat Caesar because if you go back to my influences growing up, like, yo, yes, I was a kid, but I was that kid getting parental advisory tapes and CDs, and like, yo, the Death Row catalog is a huge influence. The early Bad Boy catalog is also a huge influence. Wu-Tang, NWA, Naughty by Nature also. You know, also at the time, a little earlier than that, like Big Pun and DMX and that whole like second golden era that the East Coast was having in 97 and up as well. Yeah. So it's like a lot of street music influenced me. And also, you know, even though most people that met me through 15, they only knew me on a cookie cutter level because, like, yo, I was chill and I was just really trying to focus on my faith, and you know, I was like, you know, I was suppressing a lot of sides to me, but it's like the reality is I did come up on the street and I've done some stuff and even things I don't want to talk about. I ain't kill nobody, nothing. I ain't no killer.
No.
You know, I ain't no shooter or nothing. But like I've did my dirt and I've seen stuff and I have things that affected my life on a negative and a positive way from the street. And hip hop was always an outlet. So I wanted to do something like with what I came up on. And out of everything, you know, call me weird. Like a lot of people are like, yo, you grew up in New Jersey. Like, how you love the West Coast so much? And it's just like, yo, I just do. Like, I vibe with their melodies and their production and their flow and the way they spit and everything. And I was just like, yo, I want to do that.
I'm not gonna lie. When you started like putting me back onto like the West Coast stuff, I actually realized how much that shit was missed. Like that shit shaped a lot of my childhood too. Going to PA and we fucking like me and my cousins, we be downstairs listening to BET. Every time the next episode comes on, they fucking turn that shit up to the loudest part of the volume because my aunt and my uncle wasn't home, and we turned that shit down right after that song was over. It's like the West Coast is an amazing influence, and it's very storied. It's very storied with a lot of the Suge Knight, the Death Row stuff. It's beautiful, but it's vicious at the same time.
Oh, it's definitely hip hop's like first real tragedy.
It is. It is. And but when we all during that time, we also had not we, but New York had an artist that was doing something that's similar to you, and that's ASAP Rocky, where he was taking the Texas sound and like infusing it with his music with Harlem sound. So I felt like it was cool to go about it that way because one, I do like G Funk, I do like the West Coast, and they're very influential to what I listen to and the gangster music and everything. But I knew this wasn't going to be a gangster album. It wasn't gonna be a gangster album, and I was able to actually listen to Fat Caesar again and be like, "Yo, I'm proud of this one. Like, I'm proud of that project."
I still am. I mean, to this day, like I judge everything that I do with that. Like it has to match or be better.
Yeah,
That's
like
how I look at it.
I felt like the moments of getting certain artists on that project, like Louis Ave, Nissan Team, like I felt like, damn, I Quincy the fuck out of this shit. Like I actually was able to reach out and say, yo, you would sound right on this, you would sound right on that. And I was like, oh shit, this project really worked the way it should have.
Yeah,
And
man, and
we can't take this project back. It's just what it is, and it's amazing still.
it is, and like you said about the features, man, like shout out to my boy Rom.
Yeah,
You know, I hope something can inspire him to get back on the mic, and then we had the infamous Niz verse,
yeah,
on Old School Party. And then Louis Ave, man. And the crazy thing about When I'm Gone is that song always was bittersweet to me because it gave me the creeps. Because when I'm saying when I'm gone, I'm talking about when I'm moving. But I kept getting this feeling like, you're gonna die in the foreseeable future.
oh
Like
man,
I kept having that feeling and it would freak me out, but I would just ignore it and feel like, okay, I'm bugging out. But
right,
later on this interview,
yeah. Well, it's
we'll
coming
get
up.
there.
It's coming up now, to be honest. And
Okay, so good segue then.
yeah, like so, Fast Season was more of like your going away project. 3 months later, you move to Miami, Florida, and the unthinkable happens. You get diagnosed with kidney disease, renal failure, anemia. The doctor said if you had stayed in Jersey one more week, you would have died. Is that true?
Yeah, I mean, um, right before I left, and I was gaining so much weight, and I had no idea why. And it got to a point where it's like, if I walk 2 or 3 blocks, I'm tired. Like I walked to now it's a Verizon store, but right before they closed the Blockbuster Video on Broadway in Bayonne, I used
Right,
to live. I lived like 4 blocks down Kennedy from there. So I
right,
come up. I used to walk to Broadway all the time. I would go to Bayonne to Broadway Bagel. So
right.
I'm walking. I'm doing my normal routine, and no lie, I feel like I walked to 15 minutes of fame, which was something that I would do all the time. But now it was making me tired. So then, fast forward, we're on the road, and my legs are just swelling, my ankles are swelling, my feet look like somebody dropped the anvil, and we don't know what's going on, and we're just like, okay, when we get back, when we get to Miami, we'll figure this out or whatever. We get to Miami, we start settling in. We ain't got no furniture. We're sleeping on the floor. It's cold, and I wasn't expecting it to be cold. I'm thinking it's gonna be hot as I don't know what, but nah, there was a little cold front because
Yeah.
apparently if it gets cold up north, it gets cool down here. And I woke up one morning and I just couldn't breathe. And my wife knows hospitals as my last resort.
Yeah.
So I tell her, like, yo, we gotta find a hospital. So she's taking me to the hospital. We go to the hospital. When we get to the hospital, they take blood or whatever. Doctor comes back and says to me, so how long have you had kidney disease? And I'm like, kidney disease? I said, I don't have no kidney disease. And the doctor says, yes, you do. Actually, if you don't get dialysis within the next hour or so, you're gonna be in danger of having a problem with your heart or your lungs because you have fluid all over your body. And he's like pointing it out to me. And then the most painful thing ever, like they're just sticking needles everywhere. And then they get to the surgery. They put a tube in my chest, and then they have me dialyzing for the first time. And I remember, like, the first time I just kept thinking to myself, like, am I gonna die? And I asked the doctor, I was like, am I gonna die? And he laughed at me. He laughed at me. He was like, you're not gonna die. He's like, you're gonna have to change your life. You're gonna have to change your lifestyle. Hold on one second, Charles.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Oh, you were getting air? Okay. Okay, cool, no problem. So yeah, so he's like, you're not gonna die. You're gonna have to change your lifestyle. You're gonna have to change how you eat, everything. And it was bad, man. Like, my whole life for a while was going to the clinic 3 times a week. I've watched old people die in front of me. Like, I've seen guys' heart just stop right after treatment or during. I've seen people get hauled off to the hospital, and it would just make me more depressed because it's like, is this what I got to look forward to? All this talent I have, I'm just getting my feet wet and rap the way I wanted to. I'm in a new city. I have all these plans, and you know, I still deal with my kidney disease and everything, but like I have it at bay now. But it was so bad then. Like, um, I had my hormones were all imbalanced, so I was getting acne like crazy. My skin was getting pale. It was bad, man. Like, I was dying.
So so you pretty much not only had to adjust living, not only you had to adjust living in a new state, you had to adjust going through dialysis, losing weight. How was that process?
Um, it was tough. The losing weight part too was tough because I had to start getting used to certain restrictions, food wise, and just I had no energy. So even though I was losing weight, also my anemia was just like really going hard. And but a beautiful thing started happening though when I got deep into the losing weight, and that was my diabetes went away.
Wow.
Like, I don't take no insulin no more. I don't even take pills, and I could eat sugar now. Like, of course, I can't go crazy,
Yeah, don't
but
do
I
that.
can. I'm not going to. But I could eat some sugar. And as far as dialysis, I started researching. I was like, yo, there has to be a better way. And I found that Miami had a home dialysis program. So I had the social worker get some information, and I spent most of 2016 training. And
Yeah.
but before that, even during all this, I was trying to get my feet back into the music. And like a neighbor of mine, he introduced me. Yo, shout out to my homeboy Smoke, by the way. And my homeboy Smoke, he introduced me to his friends at the studio. And shout out to Santana, because that was the first engineer I had met at the studio in Miami at BMG Studios. And it was all love. And I began recording because one thing I stayed doing despite what I was going through is I was writing. I
Yes.
was writing.
Yes.
And I think it fueled my writing. I think where I am right now, as far as my talent, is because of how I started writing during that time.
Right. So going through having a disease that stops you in your tracks, you really go through periods of doubt. At one time, you told me you were going through depression. Like, how did you try to get yourself out of it?
Well, several different
One
ways.
thing you did tell me just now about the whole you being in dialysis and watching people die, and they do die, and all else getting carted off and stuff like that. That would depress the living shit out of me.
Well, see, aside from that, just being a young man going through this, and having so much hopes and dreams, and you know and aspiring for so much in the future, the thought of like, yo, I'm gonna die and I ain't accomplished nothing, that scared me. And that's, honestly, I'm sharing with y'all what might be my deepest fear. It's not even death, it's dying, having achieved nothing, having wasted my time on this earth, which is limited. Everybody's time is limited. So for me, it was like, yo, I can't go out like that. Like, I have a destiny that needs to be fulfilled. So, you know, the depression was bittersweet because it was like wanting to fulfill my destiny was a push, along with the support of my wife. Like, yo, my wife, she held me down through all of that. Like, I had to go on disability. I had to get a check every month. I had to, all the bills, everything had to get covered by her. And like, yo, she held it down. Like, and she never complained about it. And she always believed, like, nah, you're gonna get better. This is temporary. This too will pass. And so between that and just different ways to treat depression. You know what I'm saying? And I just I kept my faith, man. But there was some changes. I can't say I was mad at God, but I just there was some dark times. When you dance with the Reaper, you after you finish the dance and you go back and sit down, you realize a lot of things. And I feel like it also made me closer to God. A lot of people says, oh, it made you bitter, or what happened to you? Like, you're more wild now, you're more rugged, like, what happened to you? And it's like, nah, like, I feel like I'm closer to God now than when I was like quote unquote cookie cutter, as some
Right.
people would say. Because I saw death, and I danced with death, and I trusted God to survive the dance. and I survived it. And he who increaseth knowledge increaseth sorrow. That's the best way to put it.
Right. So your health gets better a little bit. You
I
set
mean,
out.
good enough, like stable enough. Like I'll
Yeah.
be real. Like I don't talk about it and everything like that. But I dialyze on a regular basis. I have a machine the size of an air conditioner on a desk in my room, and at night after work or before work, depending, I
Yeah.
dialyze at home, and my wife helps me, and that's I clean my blood, like I clean my blood, and then I keep it moving. Like, don't get it twisted. Like, I don't talk about it a lot. I don't want people to treat me like a disability case. Cause like, yo, I'm far than capable to live my life. I live normal. I have to dialyze. That's my cross. That's my burden. That's
Yeah. So your health gets a little better. So you set out to make yourself known in the Miami hip hop scene. So how did you hear about the Miami Pipeline?
okay. So um at that point my health wasn't as good as it is now, but it was like, okay, I'm on the road though. I'm on the road to recovery, and I'm just like, I can't record new music yet. I'm writing, but you know what? No one's ever heard Fat Caesar. And we did such beautiful things with Fat Caesar up north. So it's like, yo, let's spread Fat Caesar down here. So I went online and I was looking at different open mics, and I saw that the Pipeline and their website, they had videos and stuff. So I actually got to see first on YouTube how their event works. So I called, and Miss Angela answered the phone, and we're talking and everything. And I'm telling her like, "Yo, I'm coming from Jersey," and she's like, "Oh, what part of Jersey?" "I'm from Jersey City originally."
Yeah.
And I was just like, "Wow!" I took it as a sign. I was like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
this is the open mic I need to be in." So I went with my boy Smoke. He drove me, and like, yo, we were in the hood in North Miami. Like, it was the hood. Like, we were in the hood, dog. But you know what? Like, I felt so much love in the hood. To this day, I love the hood. Like, I go to the hood, and it's just love. Like, it's bitter and sweet, but I love the hood. And I mean, there's some hoods I won't go to, but like
Yeah.
this hood, like North Miami, it was just like it's regular, normal people who just they're struggling. So I go to the open mic, and niggas is performing and rapping and everything. So finally, it was my turn, and you know, I did the damn thing, man, and I got a great response from everybody. They were just like, "Wow." And a few people were like, "Yo, we gotta work," or "Yo, I'm really feeling your song and everything."
So sorry, my nigga. Every time when somebody says we gotta work, y'all never work. It never happens. That's just bullshit sometimes.
No, I feel you, but you know what? I would say the only reason that it didn't happen with some people is distance, number one, because some of them lived like in a real far area of Miami, and it's like, yo, we're not gonna get together unless somebody's dropping like $25 on Uber, or even 30 or 40.
Damn.
And other than that, schedules. So schedules is always a thing, but like when someone was like, "We gotta work," that's usually just somebody's way of saying like, "Yo, I'm feeling your music," which I had several people say they felt my music. And but the one that impressed me the most though was Big Bass,
Yeah.
you know, and Big Bass, also known as
D,
Melton Bowen,
yeah. DJ
he
Bass.
DJ Bass, he was like, "Yo, I love that you don't sound like everybody else that's down here." He's like, "I love." It's like, first of all, I love that you didn't come do a trap song. Number one. Number two, he was like, I love that Barry White sample in Boss Music. I mean, he wanted to hear Boss Music every week. Like, every time I go there, he's like, I don't care what you perform. Make sure you throw that song in.
I'm not gonna lie. That's the record that got you signed to Golden Music Group. I was like, that record's fire.
It is, and the video. Shout out to Lex and Guap. Like that video took it to.
You know what's so bad about that video, yo? It made me see you. I thought you was a rich motherfucker. So when I met you, I thought I was gonna meet you in like a mansion or some shit. I was like, you motherfucker, you lied. You worshipped them.
Hey man, you know that Ferrari in Boss Music, like the reality. Hey man, that's a Toyota Corolla in the inside. Yo. But you know what? Part of Fat Caesar is living fly. So it was like, you know what? You got to see how we were seeing the Toyota. It's a Toyota in the third dimension, but in the fifth dimension, which at the time was another little thing of mine, in the fifth dimension, we balling out with Ferraris. So you were seeing another dimension. You were seeing the future. Like that was my whole thing. Was like, yo, I'm showing you the future. But back to Miami though, to the Pipeline. With the Pipeline, it was just like, it was beautiful because then Miss Angela started showing us like video clips and stuff of artists that have come through there, and I was just like, wow, like, yo, I'm here following in the footsteps of some of the greats. Like Khaled used to spin there at one point. Rick Ross's first like performances and gunplay was over there. Flow Rider, like, yo, a whole list. And then they have a store right in the USA Flea Market that they sell music, they sell t-shirts, even some video game stuff, I believe. And yo, anybody who was unsigned would sell their stuff there. And also anybody who was signed, like they got pictures with 50 Cent, Ja Rule, like different artists that have come through there and have sold music over there. So I felt like I was
you was on the right track.
I was on the right track. I was creating history because I was living history. And I had the honor that July in 2015 to perform. I forgot the name of the park, but it's a very big park in Opelika, which is also in the hood, which they built a really dope community center around there now. But yo, I opened up for a couple big names. Like Perry On was performing that day, Gunplay. Yo, I forgot the other dude's name though. But even Ball Greasy was there performing. I don't know if I mean down here he's pretty big. He has a song called Nice and Slow.
Yeah, I don't know who that is, bro.
All right, that's local. Yeah. That's one thing I learned down here is like there's certain people who star in the South, but that's like where it stops, or they're like a star here and maybe in the West Coast too, but then in the Midwest and like in the East Coast nobody knows who they are. Like there's a lot of that here, but basically, you know, I got to do some things, man, because all those artists at the time, I don't know who's actually in Maybach Music right now. Perry On I know is, but other than him, like I don't know if everybody else is still there. But like, yo, that was Maybach Music was on the headline for that. Right. And not only that, Angela's kids, they're pretty big down here, and they got a following with the teenagers and stuff. You know, they do their turn up music and everything, and they have a little following, and they've been on movies and stuff. They've been on BET movies. like twice. And they're actually in a movie that's coming out soon. I think it's gonna be on Netflix. I'm not sure, but it's called The Flea, which is
Yeah, I saw
basically
that.
yeah, because the flea market is a big thing in the culture down here. Like if you're a rapper in Miami, like you gotta go to the flea market, the USA flea market to promote. Like I'm gonna be in there soon when we drop this LT3. Put it that way.
Word. So, Bass, I think you and Bass also connected because y'all both were going through some issues health wise.
Hey man, but
He,
bass,
he, Bass was a fight. Bass was a fighter, like, but he was dealing with ALS. Am I right?
yeah, his is a
He
lot
he
worse
he he
than
he,
mine. Like his,
he still remained with a positive outlook for the future regarding the pipeline, your career. I bet it made you optimistic when you had your own battle.
it did make me optimistic and it gave me hope because here's a man that's been involved in the industry for years. And then not only that, even before the pipeline, like remember he was a boxer. Like this is a man that punched Mike Tyson in the face and almost knocked him out. Like in the time when Mike Tyson was knocking everybody out. You know what I'm saying? And he met all kinds of people. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like he's met he met all kinds of people in the industry before the pipeline and then during the pipeline. So like he told me, he was like, you know, it might look like it's gonna take you longer because you're not following trends, and when you follow trends, it could come fast. Success can come faster, but it could die. He was like, you're gonna have longevity because like people are gonna get tired of trends, and what you do is gonna be always fresh because what you do is influenced by real music. Like that's that's what he told me. He was like, "Yo, you keep the soul, you keep the funk," because he was telling me like coming up for him, like the South was all about the funk and the soul and the blues mixed with hip hop. It was like okay, they had the booty shaking music, which that's part of the culture down here. But it was like aside from that, like they they were rocking with G Funk hard in the 90s, that even down south too. And
right.
they were also rocking with what we were listening to up north with the Wu-Tang and the Mob Deep and Biggie and all that stuff. So he told me he saw a little bit of everything from hip hop in a melting pot in my music. And he gave me so much respect. And I have a line in the song we're gonna premiere later where I say, "OG nigga said he felt it." I'm like, that's the OG that I'm talking about. And I say he kept it really real, gave a nigga game. He taught me a lot of things about the business and marketing in general. And it's just so sad that he passed away. You know, it was
Yeah,
it was tough.
in 2016 in November. Like, what was going through your mind when that happened?
Well, I was thinking about his kids. I was thinking about how are they feeling, how are they gonna feel, the responsibility that was gonna be placed upon them, and I was thinking about Miss Angela, because you know what, like yo, I love my wife, so I can only imagine how it would feel to lose her. So like with Miss Angela, I was thinking about how she was feeling like, yo, the love of her life, her business partner and best friend is gone. And also I was thinking in a universal level, like, yo, hip hop, not just in Miami, but hip hop in general lost somebody. And I feel like to this day he still don't get the credit he deserves.
Nah, he doesn't, and
Like
it's sad.
a lot of people overlook him or overlook, and they always and people always bring up the clubs from like Miami Beach or like where the money is, and it's like, yo, there's so much in the inner city and in the hood though that everything is birthed there. It's just it blows up on the beach, but it's like it's so much more than the beach. So I feel like bass is deaf. It just like it made it harder. Like right now, there's other open mics and other spots, but like there's nothing like the Pipeline right now. And there's talk of a reunion. I don't know when that's gonna happen, but when it does, it's needed. And I hope Miss Ange, if you're listening, and Lil Bass, if you're listening, yo, take the mantle, Lil Bass, and continue what your father did, because this whole generation's waiting to be heard because of it. And like hip hop needs it. Like we need to get back to spreading hip hop in the community. And that's one thing that I always love. Like when I go back home to Jersey, whether the events are dope or they're whack, at least like there's hip hop going on in the city.
Exactly. Um. So you start writing and recording again for your newest project, and I think you wanted to call it Caesar Eternal. At first, I was not fucking with that title. Sounding like Spawn Eternal and shit. I really wasn't fucking with that
Well, see,
title.
I had a purpose though at that time. You got to remember that I my whole thing was I don't want to die. I almost died. I didn't die, so it was like I am
Caesar
eternal. Like
Eternal.
Caesar eternal.
Eternal.
Like that's it. Like it was like I wanted to stand on a mountain and be like Caesar eternal.
And I felt, and I was like, yo, let's go with your actual real name, because I felt it was on some emperor. It was like on some Emperor Game of Thrones ass shit, and you hate it when I call you by that name. So, but we named it LT3 Licinio the Third, because I knew that you were going to have more of a broader outlook on life due to the challenges in life that you have overcome, and the only man that can live to tell about those obstacles is you. So this album is kind of self-titled in a way.
Yeah, it is. Funny enough, after you said that about the whole emperor thing, I thought about it and I was like, he's kind of right. My name is kind of cool. My name do sound like it's ancient times, and it's like you're talking about like some king. So I ain't gonna lie, like you what's the word I'm looking for? Hey, you know what? You fed the ego.
Yeah,
You
I ain't
fed the
gonna I ain't gonna
ego.
lie. Your last name trash though. You sound like a folk hero.
Hey, you don't want to talk about last names, man. Your name,
Look,
your last name rhymes with vowels, though.
no, but you're a rapper. You should know how to rhyme better with Bowers. But
I'm just
so
saying, you say Bowers, I think you could think a lot of things.
yeah, yeah,
My last name,
Bowser, Pichardo.
yeah, my name has prestige. Like if you
It
do the
probably
research
does.
where my name comes from, my name has prestige.
Like yo, like your both your names let end with an O in it.
Yeah, they do. That's a good point.
Like it's funny, but at the end of the day, so how was it like recording again?
Well, it it was therapeutic, man. Like it was just good to be back in there, and it was a new level because I evolved lyrically and with my flow. My hunger was at an all-time high, and I was just ready to get back into things. And after we really knew on a name we were gonna go with, it was like, okay, I know the changes that need to be met. Because you know what? Like all of my projects, it took 3 times to record it and finish it before we got to the last one. And there were challenges recording LT3. There really was a lot of it. Like, I'm not gonna go too much into all the
Yeah,
challenges,
don't go into all the
but the
politics and
first thing is I had an engineer, Santana, great engineer. In fact,
very great.
when I can get another chance, I want to work on something with him. So, I know right now he's very into production and everything, and he's getting his money. But I hope in the future he'll be down, even if it's like, yo, I'll pay you and bring you to another studio with me. We could do that. But he had a falling out. He had a little issue or whatever, and he parted ways with the studio that I was recording with. So then, um, you know, I have another engineer who he's a friend of mine, and things was working out at first, but then he had his own issues that I'm not gonna go into detail out of respect for him, but he had his own issues, and certain things got lost or didn't get saved, and there
So
was
you had to re-record some songs.
I had to re-record some songs,
Yeah.
and he just he also parted ways for his own reasons, and now I believe he's not really focused on music. He's focused on other things. He's very into his spirituality and everything. So it's like I get it. Like it's not what you want to do no more. Like it's all love, ain't no love lost. So I had to do what I had to do, and then finally it's like um everything throughout all the delays, Destiny would have it fit that I end the album where my journey started. So it's like 4 years after Fat Caesar, I'm back in Jersey and I'm back with Frankie Metals. And I finished LT3 with the same people that I finished Fat Caesar. And there was an energy that I feel I left in Jersey that I never had a chance to really connect with because I had to deal with everything that I had to deal with my health when I came down here. And I feel like this last trip when I went to Jersey, I finally had that again. It was like I found the rest of Fat Caesar's energy and became one with it again. And I returned to Miami as Caesar, like for real.
Shit. So LT3 has a release date. We're
Yes,
not.
it
So we're
does.
not. We're. I don't know if we're telling you now. So what was? Do you still have that release date?
We still have that release date,
And let's fuck it. Let's announce it.
August 22nd.
August 22nd. LT. I'm sorry. August 22nd. Golden Era Music Group and Fat Caesar presents LT3. Will be on Bandcamp, and I will actually do a sampler mix on the Golden Era Music Group SoundCloud. So I can't wait for that. I can't wait for the tracks to be turned in. Shout out to Frankie Mills. Shout out to Santana. Shout out to you. Fuck. Who's the other guy?
Chisel.
Oh, so it is Jizzle. Okay, I was like stuck as hell. I thought Jizzle was a rapper.
Oh, Jizzle does it all, man. But Jizzle, he's not in music mode right now. But
But,
Jizzle sings, raps.
all right, all right,
He's a man of many
all right.
talents.
Shout out to Jizzle. Shout out to all the producers who are on this project for this single that you're getting ready to you're going to be introduced at the end of the show. I heard it's produced by Menace, the man who produced Panda.
Yeah, funny enough, a little bit before Panda blew up, Menace had a page where he was leasing out beats, and there was a beat that we got, and it was like, okay, for $20, I'll give you a lease. And the only thing about the lease, the $20 lease, one tag in the beginning so you know who produced it.
Okay.
But we're good with that. Like we can put that on Apple. Like I got
Wow.
paperwork for that.
Oh,
Because
shit.
there's no samples on that.
No,
That's
it's
There's
not.
no samples. Like there's a lot of samples on LT3.
Yes,
So
it is.
we are gonna see about in the future about putting it on streaming. So I got to see what can get cleared and what can't, because a lot of the producers I use samples.
Well,
So
I will figure it out eventually, most definitely. But now that we picked the single that we're gonna be playing later on in this episode, we went through a lot of hurdles with this one. What do the people have to expect for this project?
all right. So basically, um, you're gonna get some of my dark side. You're gonna get some of my darker feelings. You're gonna get some street elements from just me getting back in touch with the side of me that I left in Lakewood, and also being out in the hood over here. Like, yo, everybody, a lot of people think I'm down here in Miami on the beach in some mansion. It's like, nah, like, yo, I do live in the hood. I live in the Spanish hood. I live in Little Havana. Like, we ain't balling yet. Like, fine, it's not as dangerous here as other hoods, and I'm glad, because it's nice to walk down the street and not worry about getting shot up or something. But there are street elements on LT3.
Yeah.
There's still some spiritual elements too, on a personal level. It's not like I'm sitting there and worshiping and preaching or nothing, but I'm making reference that, like, yo, despite that, I'm an unconventional spiritual person right now. I still am a spiritual person. Like, I just I feel like there's a lot of things that the Lord is showing me, that man versus what's man and what's actually from God. And some people might not agree and might get mad or whatever, and some people might not like certain things about LT3. As far as, also, I express my sexuality. Like, um I ain't do a honeymoon suite on this, but I did graduated Mac because, like, yo, back in the day, I Mac. Like, that's just what I did. Like, and I talk about that now. I have a song called Graduated Mac, and it's it's a it's a Biggie tribute, the beat.
Hmm.
And I'm talking about how I used to put it down, with the ladies, and where I ended up now in that department, married and everything. And but I'm a human being first, so like I said, I express my sexuality, and I had to talk about it on Graduated Mac. And I have other moments where there's the talk about drug use, there's the talk about um, different political things. I reference police brutality. I reference politics. There's different things. I would say all the different sides and aspects of who is Lacinio, I
Word.
touch on. Like,
So, yeah, yeah. So pretty much before we go, how does it feel being a professional shit talker for the Miami Heat after being a Lakers fan for so many years?
that's it's a crazy thing how that happens. So, you know, um, so as everybody knows, Clark Kent is Superman, but when he's Clark Kent, he's a news reporter. So Fat Caesar, when he's Lacinio, I'm a security guard, and I still work actually at the American Airlines Arena, and I was security for the Miami Heat. And like little by little, I developed a relationship with the staff, and people around the team and everything, and I've even met some of the team, and seeing those guys play like up close and personal on a regular basis, and just the passion and the energy of the fans, like I caught it. It was like, yo, I'm in a new city, I'm getting money in my new city, and you know we're living, and things are starting to turn around for me, and I'm feeling the vibe, and it was like, yo, I'm gonna rep the city. So it was like, yo, I'm a Heat fan now, because even though I still, to this day, I still have a high respect for the Lakers. I wish them all the best, even though I honestly don't like the whole LeBron thing over there. But whatever. I ain't mad at that. At least he didn't go to the Warriors, right?
Yeah,
So, and not only that, I like what he's doing socially. Like, if LeBron ever runs for president, he got my vote.
most
But
definitely.
the Miami Heat though, I just felt more passion, and it hit more closer to home, because it's like I don't work with the Lakers, I don't see them in person, I don't drive by their stadium, but I do the Miami Heat, and I have a connection with that. And so yo, is Heat gang, and when the Lakers come and play against the Heat, I'm gonna be cheering for the Heat. That's just what it is. And hey, the Vice City Miami Heat hat happens to look amazing, fresh, fly as hell on my head. So what can I say, man?
Yeah, man. So this is the last question. Yo, I want you to go ahead. I want you to plug in your social media where everyone can find your music. Give people your last words about the project and introduce the single, my G.
All right, man. You already know, man. It's your boy, Fat Caesar, and you can follow me on Twitter at Fat Caesar 305, on Instagram at Fat underscore Caesar, and on Facebook. You could check me out, man. Lachi Osiris, but it'll say Fat Caesar in parentheses. But like, I don't really use the Facebook like that. But I might have a conversation with you or something. You never know. And yo, check me out on SoundCloud at LACHY 201. That's Lachi 201. So SoundCloud / Lachi 201. And yo, man, this song right here, it started out as a freestyle, as part of an old school, new school flow series that I always do every so often. Um, Frankie had heard it while he was down here in Miami, after a trip to Cuba, and he was just like, "Yo, I wish you would have did that with me, because we could turn that to a whole song." So when I came to Jersey, I turned it into a whole song. Um, I encourage everybody, yo, get your dance on. If you want to come up with a dance or something for it, like, do it. It's a great vibe. It's a dope record. It's called Travel 305 / Make the Money and Chill with it. So bump this song, get this money, and chill with it, man. It's your boy Fat Caesar. This is
Yes,
Gem
yeah.
Radio.
Yes. This is episode 28 of Gem Radio featuring Fat Caesar. I want you to join us next time when I have 89 the Brainchild on episode 29. Thank you, and let's get into this record.